about movies, making videos about movies, writing articles about movies. I think you did very strong and represented yourself very well. So Concord High,
Thank you.
go Crimson Tide.
Thank you.
So, and Jake, you were. I thought you were going to be sinking there for a little bit, and in fact, my initial scorecard, just for me, I did have Ben winning it. It was going to be 5-4. It was what was the difference here? I think it was Elizabeth Pena that I really liked. I really loved that pick. That was really good, out of the box thinking, Ben. So yeah, that's what swung it really, and then it started the chain of events. But Jake, what was your surprise pick from Ben?
Oh man, I love the Danny Houston pick. I hadn't even thought of him in that role, but once he said it, I was like, oh yeah, that's perfect. I mean, it was just such perfect casting. I thought I was going to lose that point for sure.
And Ben, we saw his picks, a lot of them, especially the last streak he went on there. What was the one that shocked you? That was like, oh wow, that's really good.
I think it was the Gene Hackman. I hadn't thought of that, but as you said, it was interesting that we both picked actors from the Unforgiven movie. That was a weird coincidence.
Yeah, that happens quite a bit, because it's like, where can I find someone who's got the gravitas to do this role? And they end up all being in the same movie, like Space Cowboys or something. So what happens if this had been a tie, we would have gone to the double feature, which is a part of the podcast where we pick a movie that would go well with the movie we hear. So Knives Out. So what we will do is, Jake, you would have gone first. You just tell me the movie. Then I'll go to Brendan. I'll go to Ben. Ben, what would you think is a good movie? And then I'll go back to Jake to explain, and then back and forth. Because I don't want you to, sometimes just hearing the movie, people go, oh, I'll do that one. But then the explanation can win someone over. Mm-hmm. So Jake, if you had to double feature this movie, Knives Out, what would it be?
Clue.
Ooh. Which ending?
Well, if you're double featuring, you've got the Alamo for the weekend. You're going to do all the endings, right? You're going to show them one right after the other.
All right. Ben.
Rat Race.
With John Cleese? That isn't John Cleese the main crazy rich guy in that?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Rowan Atkinson, John Lovitz, that one. Yeah.
Okay. So Jake, why Clue? Obviously it's a mystery, but why Clue?
The first time I watched Knives Out, I thought this is an updated and I think much better done Clue. I don't know much better, but Clue's much more in the comedy vein than Knives Out is, but I think it's the same feel for me. And so I think two murder mystery movies back to back would just be kind of fun.
And Ben,
it's funny. I almost said, I was thinking first of Clue, and I thought they might have been too similar. Because that's right where I went with, but I went with another kind of group movie, and where you could kind of test drive all the characters in that, but it was a little bit more fast paced than Knives Out. And I thought that at times Knives Out seemed to go very slowly for me. And I think Rat Race kind of has that, continued attention getting film sequences to keep everybody, uplifted and laughing. So
it is a race. You can't just, hang out at the gas station for 20 minutes. You got to keep moving.
Right.
Well, I think in this case, I probably would have gone with Clue, because I think that would have been very similar, except, there is a farcical element to Clue. Not that I'm a big fan of Clue. It's just that I do feel if I'm going to watch a double feature, a theme would be great. But before we go, one last time, plug everything. So Ben, talk about the brewery one more time and where people can find stuff. I know it's mostly sold in New Hampshire.
Yeah, I self-distribute to about 60 stores around the state, and you can find us on bigwaterbrewery.net and on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. Mostly sour ales, but we're switching into more traditional Belgians, and just look for us for kind of a revamping and restart in the spring.
Yeah, I was going to ask if there's a beer season. Like, I know you're brewing it all. When do you start putting it in bottles and sending it out to the stores?
It is fairly year round, although like summer and fall are definitely the huge beer seasons. But there's beer for every season. So we're always making new things.
You know how I know there's a beer for every season? Last year, my wife, for Empire Con here in Los Angeles, it was in December, bought and we brought to the hotel an advent calendar of beer. So we started off like the whole season drinking beer after beer after beer. So I will look forward to that. And when I'm going to see if I can get people to sneak. Don't tell anybody. I'm going to sneak mail it to me. So that way, I guess I know you can't mail it. That's not on you. I will get someone else to buy it like a regular person in New Hampshire and let them deal with the consequences.
Sure.
I know you can't do that in Utah, Jake, with your crazy laws. So tell me about Stolen Droids.
3.2.
Yeah. So Stolen Droids, you can find us at stolendroids.com. We call ourselves Utah's premier podcast network. We've got the Stolen Droids podcast. We have Cutscenes and Cupcakes, which is a video game podcast, and then Movies That Make Us that I co-host with Tracy and Val, who have both been on the show. And of course, Utah Remote Con coming up in March. So plenty going on with Stolen Droids right now.
Well, I want to thank you both for coming on, Jake. You are always one of the nicest guys in podcasting. I really appreciate you coming on. We'll see you in the second round. I believe you were going to go up against, let me see here. I can already tell you that I do know. Let me go back to the front here. You are going up against, as I zoom, I don't edit this because this is just, where is it? There it is. You are going up against Alex Barnhill from Texas and the Vocal Network. So we got two networks going against each other, the Vocal Network and Stolen Droids Network. All right.
Should be fun.
Well, Ben, thank you very much. Jake,
thank you.
And we will see you soon.